And we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the DS Podcast. Let's get right into it. Welcome back, guys. We have a special guest, Marquies. You mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Yeah, no, my name is Marquies Hill. I'm a struggling travel artist. I do paints. I do artwork. I love traveling around the world, meeting different cultures. I'm currently living in Tampa, Florida right now. That's where I'm stationed at right now. And I do work a 9 to 5 job, at a restaurant, and just trying come up in the world, try and do what I love doing full time one day.
Mm. So I'm actually jump right into it. So what made you actually come to Japan?
It's always one of the places that I always wanted to do when I did my business model plan, as for my art business, I'm a painter. I do paintings, nature is like my favorite. And when I was doing my research, when I was before I start traveling abroad and figuring out the places and the areas that I wanted to go to. I figured out Japan was known for its its nature and its landscapes. So I was really appreciative about the pictures that I had saw it online. So I decided, hey, I want to take a trip out there one day, and actually do some share what I love doing out to the world. And when when I had enough research and everything, this was okay, it's time for me to go out there and do Japan now. And I stayed out there for 4 weeks, and that's pretty much that's the maximum of what I do for every country that I have visit, just to make sure that the reason why I stay out there that long is to make sure that that's enough time for me to actually to get to know the culture, to know the areas, to know the city, the food, to study, the history of the places that I have visit and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much is about it, really. Yeah.
Mm. So what would you say is like the best spots you ever been to when you was in Japan in your experience?
Um, okay, now Kyoto is one of them, and the reason why I said Kyoto is because, if you want to know the Japanese culture, they actually get to know the history of the Japanese, how the temples was built and everything. If you want to know the language a little bit more, get to know the authentic Japanese. I highly recommend visiting Kyoto. Kyoto was my favorite. I met a lot of I learned a lot when I was out there. I learned about the temples and everything. I heard Kyoto was actually its first Japan city, not the very first, but one of the few ones that was built. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting because there are certain places in Kyoto that you can't take pictures of. Photography is it's banned in certain neighborhoods in Kyoto. You can't really take pictures of things. Like if you get caught taking pictures, that's about a 10,000 yen fine or something like that. So
Mm.
that's $100 US or something like that. So yeah, and the geishas, the Japanese women that have the white makeup on with the decoration hair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I heard it's illegal to take a pictures of them because and the reason why it's illegal because I was doing my research and I heard that there's a lot of photographies in different countries, not just in the U.S. but around the world. They chase them like they paparazzi. So every time they see a geisha, they always chase them down with their $4,000 camera or like that, just try and take a snap or photo of them. And every time they see a camera, they always run away because I saw a geisha, when I was walking at night back while I was walking back to my hostel, and when I had my phone out, I was trying to find directions where my hostel was. I think she saw me, but she was walking real fast and trying to get us out of her building. So I was but I took a picture of one of them, but she had her back turned. It was in one of those busy streets and everything. So I didn't really make sure that nobody didn't see me, but I just took one snap a photo of it on my phone. Yeah, Kyoto, it's beautiful. The food is great. Not just Kyoto, but everywhere in Japan, even Tokyo. The food is great. The people are amazing. The people are welcoming. Like, I say like this is like, okay, now Asia. Okay, now like this is my favorite country in Asia. So like now I've been to three countries when I was in Asia, and I've been to like Asia three different times, and like I say like Japan is my favorite Asian country so far. I haven't met so many kind people that in life, like let's say like if you're like in a restaurant or like you're in a busy mall and then like one of those like like Gucci stores or something like that, and it's like real busy inside. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, now if you ask for help, that person, if it's like real busy, that Japanese person will stop what they're doing and they will go to that foreign person and help them out. Even though the language barrier is really bad, they will go out of their way and still help you. That has never happened, and I have never seen that and experienced that in my life in the United States. In my 35 years living on this earth, I have never experienced that in the United States. People will go out of their way if it's real busy, like about like real busy, like like they will go out of their way and stop what they're doing and just help you out, particularly. So I mean, I was really amazed by that. So I really appreciate that a lot about the Japanese. Like, they don't come off rude, they don't come off disrespectful or anything like that. So, and also like also my favorite spot like was Kyoto. Now, I mean like Osaka. Now Osaka, like if you want to meet locals, if you want to like have some real Japanese friends that that you can hit up on IG and everything. Hey, let's hang out at a bar or something like that. I say see Osaka is the place for you. Now Osaka is like it's a really extroverted city. So I said in my review like one of these groups like if you're an introvert you really don't have to do much in Osaka because it's pretty much like Osaka is extrovert, which that means that instead of you going up to them, they'll pretty much just come up to you. You want to talk about?
Yeah.
So I mean that's what I'm saying. Like and I said like Tokyo is an introverted city, which that means that like it's real busy, it's big, everybody is there for something to do. They always try to get from point A to point B. That's Tokyo. You understand? So that's why, like, they really don't have time to cold approach people like the locals. I mean, but like, if you're an extroverted guy in Tokyo, you probably will move out there pretty well out there. So you probably won't mind the atmosphere out there. You understand?
Okay. Oh
Okay,
wow.
uh, yeah, like it's like New York, like it's the New York of Japan. Like, that's why I said like, they say like, like if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Well, if you make it in Tokyo, you can make it anywhere. You see? Well, it's just like that. So like, everybody is like is real busy, like, in Tokyo. Now, like, I like Tokyo, but like it's some problems that I had in the city. And can I talk about it right now or you want me
Yeah,
like
go ahead,
get
man.
into a little bit?
The floor is
Well,
yours.
okay, yeah. Well, Tokyo has a big elephant in the room, and that big elephant in the room that if you trying to now if you're not Japanese or if you can't speak Japanese or if you don't have a Japanese friend with you that can help you translate, it's really going to be hard for you to get inside bars, nightclubs, restaurants, cafes in the city. Now, I only experienced this in Tokyo, but I have not experienced this anywhere else in Japan. Now, the reason why it's a lot of this going on in Tokyo because, like I told you, Tokyo is a big city. Like I mean, it's millions, 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 millions of people in Tokyo. So, like you're going to witness this a lot, especially with the language barrier. It's really bad. Like Japanese, you're going to meet some Japanese people out there that can't even read the English alphabet. So, like you're going to have to use the Google Translate. You know, like to actually like for them to understand like exactly what you're trying to like ask them understand what you're saying. So like I highly recommend the Google Translate and like if you can't really speak the language because that pretty much like they can't read the English alphabet. So I mean like if you're gonna have to write it down in Japanese or you're gonna have to tell them in Japanese or you're gonna have to translate it on your phone in Japanese, like for them to understand you. Now like the Uber driver now like the taxi drivers, like that's a thing, out there. Like, they cannot read the English alphabet. So back to it, like yeah, like you're really gonna be hard to get inside these places. I mean, I think that's the reason why it's really hard to get inside these places. It's just because like they can't really like speak your language. So they gonna be like, hey, like, I'm sorry, only Japanese only. I'm sorry, only Japanese only. I'm sorry, we're sold out. We're sold out. Which that means that it could be like a couple tables left, like and the restaurant is nowhere near even closed, and you still is not going to be able to get inside.
Okay. Now I got a quick question for you. Would you say the English is more poor on the countryside compared to like the cities in Japan?
Um, I say now on the countryside, I say yeah, it kind of is like on the because because I've been to the countryside as well. Now I say like it is a little bit poor, but like it's just that like but like it's like as you trying to get inside these restaurants, it's more relaxed than it is in the big cities. You understand?
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's not going to be hard for you to get inside these restaurants if you're in the countryside. So I mean, that's why I was like, if you don't speak the language, but like but the language barrier is like it is pretty bad, like in these countrysides. But like, don't get me wrong, like it's nice and everything like that. Like Japan is one of the most safest countries. When I was walking down the street at night, I didn't feel like my life was in danger. Yeah, it felt like it was kind of spooky, but like at the same time, like nobody's not going to bother you. Nobody's not going to come up and harass you or anything like that. Nobody's not going to try and like come in the car and try to pull up on you or anything like that. So you don't got to worry about anything like that. As a black man, you don't got to worry about the police, anything like that. So like everybody is like extremely respectful, and like they got a lot of respect for proximity out there as well. So like I mean I really appreciate that a lot about the Japanese culture. So I mean
It definitely sounds that like that sounds like a better option compared to like the West when it comes to safety, man. Oh my
yeah
goodness.
yeah yeah it is because like like here in the U.S. like you just gotta watch it back everywhere you go. So I mean, but like in Japan like you don't gotta worry about much. You just like just do your thing and you be fine
So, in your opinion, what do you think like the best time of year to travel to Japan is?
Right now, I don't say this is the best time of the year because, like in the summertime, I went in this is the summertime. Now I went during the summer. Boy, oh my God, it was so brutal. I cannot believe how hot it was there. Like this is the most been the hottest country that I had ever visited. Like the second hottest country that I visited was Chile, and that was like about like and that was like during the holiday season. But like like our summer is their winter and their summer is our winter. So like like in South America. So but like oh my God, it was so hot. I could feel the ray, the UV ray like coming from the sun, the radiation coming from the sun. So it was even worse. I sweat so many bullets out there, it was crazy. And I had to hike up to these shrines with my pilot and my easel. Oh my God, it was so hot. By the time I got up there, man, I was so like dehydrated. I couldn't even like actually like get the paintings like done. I was like, oh my God, I am done. I'm tired. Oh my God, I'm already worn out. Like what the hell,
Yeah, quick
I mean,
question.
that's what I'm saying.
How tall are you,
Yeah.
Marquis? How tall are you?
I, I'm 5'11" actually.
Oh, okay. Well, you're right up there with me. I'm six
Okay,
foot.
yeah. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So, yeah. So, like, I mean, like, again, it is so hot. Like, this year has been the hottest since it's ever been in Japan. Now, people got electric mini fans that they carry around with, to make themselves cooler. But, like, totally be honest with you, I don't think that actually works because, like, when they use those fans, it makes the heat, like, air even more, like,
Yeah, it blows the hot air.
but that blows the hot air. It's
Yeah.
like blowing hot air. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they have to put it like real like towards their face like this, like so they can keep themselves cool, like. Cause I asked, I was like, "Hey man, like it's so hot here. Like, those fans actually work?" They was like, "I don't think so." That's why they put it so close to their face. Like, so you're gonna witness that a lot. Actually, they got fans that they built like inside, like sheet, like one of those sheet like skirts and everything. That you wear, or those apron, one of those like those robes. They got
Yeah.
fans like inside of there that that you could just like turn on like outside of your apron, and it's like there's a fan that like just twist around under it and make yourself cooler. Yeah, so I heard something about that, but I haven't gotten it. I haven't seen it, but I heard they got certain things out there.
Someone said,
No, so
"Dev, you're 6 foot." Yeah, I'm 6 feet, man.
yeah, yeah. So you're 6 feet. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a
okay.
tall, big, like bodybuilder.
Oh, okay, bodybuilder. Okay, wow. Well, I mean, well, so, yeah, well, the heat is probably gonna get to you. So, and then,
So, how much money do you think you should actually have when living in Japan? Like a let's just getting by
well,
lifestyle, simple, and then like a lavish.
I say, as living there, or as like visiting, like
You could do both.
like if you want to visit, I say you should bring at least $7,000
So like
because
a
like
month.
you're yeah, like a month because
Okay.
that's how much I spend. Like that's how much I stay. Like a month. So you should bring at least $7,000 with you. Not only that, but like they got some places that are real cheap. Like they got convenience stores and everything like that that you could buy like TV dinners, like Japanese tea, and it's so good. Like they'll heat it up for you in the microwave, and that was it. Like you'll be like eating good out there. Like you could buy like 15 items with just only like $7 out there in certain places in Japan.
Man.
And
So
in the convenience store, yeah,
okay, so you're talking about like 7-Eleven.
yeah, like 7-Eleven. They got their own convenience stores called Lawson or Family Mart. You'll see those a lot out there, and I highly recommend like a single card, like you can it's like a card that you could use it on like public transit, like buses, trains, ferries, you know, taxis, like you could use it on like convenience stores, like you could use it at what's that vendor machines and everything. So like, I mean, you could use the same card pretty much on everything. You could use that card on actually like JR trains, like like the Sinction bullet train or something like that. And also like I highly recommend like getting the JR pass if you want to ride like the bullet train. Is I think it's like $500 like for 30 days or something like that.
Mm.
For so like you can go anywhere in Japan, like on the bullet train, just for $500 a month with that JR pass, and you could use the JR pass like on on like subway trains. Like if it says JR on the subway, then you could use that same JR pass that you purchased that $500 on that regular transit.
Yeah. So keep in mind, guys. Now, if you live in like the United States where you actually have to drive everywhere, imagine how much that gas is, man.
Yeah,
And then compare that to Japan, where you just take like a train system and only paying like a certain small fee.
yeah.
That's a lot of savings right there.
I mean, yeah, that's a
Very
lot of say.
convenient.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just that like Japan is known for its like trains, especially like it's known for its transportation, especially for its trains. Like I mean, they are really like into their trains, like their train systems, like how it works. But like I think the train stops at 1 a.m. in the morning in certain places. But like if you're on the countryside, the trains will stop like around like 6 or something like that.
Mm. So, what about the apartments? Are they really look good looking? How small are they?
Oh yeah, I was about to get into that now. Now I was talking. Now I met a lot of expats out there. You know what expats is, right?
Yeah,
Okay, now
other
I
travelers
met.
coming in.
Yeah, I met like the most expats that I met. It was like they was from California. like and I was like chopping it up with them pretty well out there, like like having conversations with them, hanging out with them, having drinks with them and everything. And they was telling me that, and I met this one expat, that was from Germany. He told me that like the cheapest apartment that you can get in Tokyo is like $300. And he was telling me that, like yeah, like everything, like electric, everything's included. I pay like, but like you'll have one bedroom, one, like one bathroom and everything like that. But like it's not very big, but like it's comfortable just for one person for $300 a month. That's what he told me. And
Man.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, like yeah, it's pretty nice. And also, like oh, now this is interesting. Now I'm gonna get back now. Out of all the locals and like in all the all expats that I had met, 95% of those people saying that, like Osaka was the better city than Tokyo. And they told me that, and the reason why I asked this information, because like because like it hit me, because like I was like, when I came to Tokyo, I was like, okay, this is a nice city. It has a lot to do, but like something is a little off about this city that I'm concerned about. I was like, okay, now you can't get into certain areas. I'm in the red light district, and I've seen the people that I was in the red light district was only trying to get the Japanese people inside, and I noticed that. And the people that I asked that was also visiting, that was expats as well, was pretty much saying the same thing that I had in mind in my conscience. I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Okay, now because I met these Japanese girls out in like in Fuji, because I had visited Fuji for 5 days, and I was out there, and I was like doing the painting. They approached me. We was talking like for 30 minutes. I was talking to her friend. She was telling me that, like, yeah, in Tokyo there are certain places that they can be racist tourist cars. I was like, oh really? I was like, okay, and it was telling me that, and I asked them. I was like, okay, what city do y'all guys prefer? Do y'all prefer in Tokyo, or do y'all prefer Osaka? They said they like Osaka better. And these girls are from Tokyo and they live in Tokyo, and they say they prefer Osaka better. That's interesting. So
Mm.
like okay, now I was like, okay, I might be on to something here. Okay, now so now I met these guys from Israel. I mean, like now they hooked up with the girls, like that I was talking to on the table and everything. They was clapping cheeks with them and everything.
Yeah.
So so like they met up with them. So I was talking to them, like they pretty much had the same experience. Now these are white guys from Israel. These are I mean like these are Jewish white guys. Now they're from Israel. Now I did not know that they had like Caucasian guys that was that pale that was from Israel. I did not know that, because they looked like they was European. They said they had a little European inside of them, but they actually is from Israel. I was like, wow. I was like, damn, I didn't know they had Caucasian men from Israel. I was like, they was like, yeah, I was like, and they also they noticed the racism too. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting because they white. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, oh, so this is not a black thing. So this is more like a culture thing that they doing to other cultures as well. So like that's what made me start be doing my own little investigation, like going around asking people, like what city, like is Tokyo better, Osaka better. So that's what made me really, 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 really ask, because they noticed it too. Because like one of the Israel guys, they say that, hey, they left their phone on the bus when they was in Tokyo, and they noticed it. So like they was trying to get back on the bus, trying to tell the bus driver, hey, my friend, why he left the phone on the bus, can we go back and get it? So the bus driver was like telling him no. He keep hitting the X sign like this. No, no, no. Y'all can't get. I was like, what the yo? My friend phone is on the bus. We need to get his phone off the bus. The bus driver kept telling him no, no. Like now, if they not interested, now Japanese people, like if they not interested, they would just put the X sign up like this. So I mean, that's a sign that means like no, like we're not into you. That means no, like or if they try to X or something. So like so pretty much that's their thing in Japanese culture. They'll just put the X sign up like this, say that means no. Now now I was talking to them. They was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "Yeah, we experienced racism too." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Damn, that's interesting coming from y'all." So I was like, because I never thought that like white men would experience this type of behavior, like like getting accepted into the like culture. Because I mean, like like I mean, like European, like like European white style. That's the it's European standards. It's like it's world around the world. So like I mean, I'm pretty sure like white men, like they get accepted a lot more easier than black men. I'm pretty sure you agree, right? I mean, um, hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just making
Yeah,
sure
you're
that you
actually
listen. Okay,
hold
yeah.
on. You're actually breaking up a bit. Are you able to find like a different like spot
Okay,
for a better reception?
okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. They was just telling me that well, we experienced the racism too. They was like, oh, okay. Well, I was like, wow, I did not know that. They was telling me they was telling about the phone situation. They was like, oh, say, okay. I was like, maybe like it was a misunderstanding what he was doing. I was like, no, he was doing that just to be racist. I was like, whoa. I was like, really? I was like, okay. I was like, so yeah. I mean, like, I met like people from the Netherlands. I met people from Germany. I met people from Australia. I met people from France, and and these were white people, by the way, and they was telling me the same thing that they experienced this type of behavior in Tokyo, that they wasn't allowed in places because they wasn't Japanese. I was like, damn, that is interesting. Now, when I went to Osaka, I didn't experience that type of behavior when I was there. Now, it was more like everybody's welcome. Like it doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak. Everybody is welcome in Osaka. Like but everybody is not welcome in certain places in Tokyo. You see, you hear me?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, damn, this is interesting. I was like, okay, maybe Tokyo was a little bit overrated or in a certain extent. But like I mean, it is a nice city. There's a lot to do. The food is great. It's just that there's stuff also that you need like to be aware of if you ever decide to visit Tokyo.
Okay. So how are the restaurants over there and like the food compared to
Oh
like
man,
the United States?
the food is great. The food is amazing. Remember, now pay attention to what I'm about to say. The smallest dish they got is the best dish. Now the reason why that is, I know it's small, but it is so good. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. Like, it could be the littlest thing and it could be the best thing that's on your plate. You go all I mean they got like, they got like shrimp. They got some type of like fried shrimp. They got like for like noodles, fried noodles, like with soup and everything. It was pretty nice. Now I don't know the dishes on the back of my head. I gotta look at my notes. But like, I mean the food is great. Like if you want to experience like real, really good food, I say go to Osaka. Osaka is known for its food. Like, they got a lot of street food out there that you can eat. It's cheap. I mean, like, they got like, snacks out there. They got like fruit snacks, candy on a stick that you can eat. I mean, it is really nice. I mean, like, ice cream is good. That's why I'm saying that, like, they got a lot of desserts that they make, the design, they steaks is pretty good. So, I mean, they know how to cook the food pretty well out there. It is amazing. Like, you'll eat pretty well. You'll eat pretty damn good, like in Japan. Like,
So how's the health and fitness over there?
the health and fitness. Now I did met some people that was a little overweight, like when I was in Japan. But like like it comes down to the women. Like I haven't met that many like oversized women. Like pretty much the women are like skinny, like covered up, and like they take care. Their bodies pretty nice. And the fitness, like I mean, like they do got some fitness, like centers that you can go and work out at. And like I mean, it's really healthy. I mean, it is pretty nice. yeah, you won't have a problem with the fitness and everything like that over there.
Okay. How active is the fitness industry in Japan? Would you say it's pretty active?
Yeah, it's pretty active. Yeah, I mean that's what I say. Like people out there, like you'll see a lot of people out there jogging with their dogs and everything. You'll see people out there working out. So I mean, yeah, yeah, it's pretty fun out there. Like I highly recommend like going outside of Tokyo, like going to the beach and everything. So that's what I went. And I met these two guys, that was Japanese, and they spoke English pretty well, and they said they've been to the U.S. and they said like and then, this is way before. But then I went to Osaka, and it was like, yeah, Tokyo is nice, but you probably have a better time in Osaka. Like it's like like me and like locals and everything.
So now this is actually a question for audience who wants to know. How are the women in Japan, man?
Oh man, the women in Japan are great. They don't come off rude. It's just that the language barriers there. It's just like they like guys that approach them. But if you approach them the right way, like you'll get your feet wet in the door because like again like when I was in now when I was in like in Kyoto on the bus, there was this girl that was like checking me out like heavy when I was in when I was like sitting on the bus, like she kept on like smiling at me, like she kept on like looking at me and being next to her mother, and she was like licking her lips at me and everything like that. And I was like, and like and she played like she was asleep. I mean, she was a real attractive girl. She was thick, but she wasn't fat. But she was like she had like like nice skin, like styles and everything like that. So I was like, should I go over and talk to her, or man, I want to talk to her in front of her mom like that. So she was pretending like she was asleep. So like, when I got off the bus, like she just like put her head up and started like looking out the window when I was like walking off the bus, and I waved at her, and she was just kind of like giggling and laughing. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
okay, yeah. So, and also, and I met there was another girl that I had met in Kyoto, like when I was like painting, like like she just came up to me, hey, can you take a picture of me, pretending like I'm painting this on your phone? I was like, yeah, sure. So I took a snap of her and everything, you know, and she took a picture, she took pictures of me, and I took pictures of her, like next to her, like me and her was talking. It was a nice conversation. So I mean, the women out there are really nice. They're really kind and sweet. And,
So how feminine would you say the women are in Japan compared to like the United States or Western countries?
how feminine? They are, yeah, they are like very easy. I mean, like again, like you could be the lamest dude in a room, and you will still like get some. You'll still get lucky, you know, because like like in Japanese culture, like being lame is cool because like it's the home of the anime. They got some anime nightclubs that you can go to. Like they'll put like a big old anime like music video, and everybody will just like stand at the screen and just like have a good time, like drinking bottles and everything. Like it's something out there for every dude. Like it's something out there for the extroverts dudes. There's something out there for the introvert dudes, and like it's something out there for everybody. So I mean, like if you can't get lucky in Japan, then like something is wrong with you, especially as a black dude. Like because they pretty much love us out. Okay, now let me tell you a story. Now, when I was in Kyoto at a nightclub, like I think it was like this Japanese girl had came up to me and approached me. Hey, can you buy me and my friend a drink? I was like, yeah, sure. So like me and her was like hugging, like taking pictures with each other. So like I looked at her phone and looked like she was hooked up with another dude, like when she had like a screen saver on her phone. I was like, what the hell? So like, so I highly recommend that like watch out for yourself because they do got some Japanese girl that cheat on their boyfriends, or like they got some Japanese girl they just want to like screw foreigner like foreign dudes, like okay
Yeah.
now say no. So okay now in Tokyo, now I went to the strip club in Tokyo, and it's not called the strip club; it's called the gentleman's club. Okay, now when I went there, I met this Japanese Brazilian chick. Have you heard of Japanese Brazilian before?
Yeah, that's really that's like a rare breed too, man.
Okay, now when I was in the strip club, it was like this African dude. Now they got a lot of African black dudes there, that actually work there, that actually live there. So they was like he was telling me that, hey, which girl do you want? So I picked the Japanese Brazilian chick. So cause she had the nicest body, the nicest cup size and everything like that. So she was like, hey, so I'm assuming you like girls with big breasts, right? I was like, yeah, sure. So I can see that's why you chose me. So me and her was like talking, having a good time and everything like that. So we went to like this VIP section in the room, in one of those private strip rooms. So like she actually pulled my pants down and gave me it did like this and everything. I can't say it. No, no, so
Yeah, we gotta keep it so PG.
okay, yeah, so that's what she did. She was like, yeah, so I was like, man. So I mean, she really showed me a good time. So like me and her actually exchanged like ID information. So the whole time she was telling me, hey, if you need help with Japan intel, just let me know. So like me and her was like talking the entire time during my time in Japan. Me and her was like messaging each other, talking. So I was like, okay, wow. So the girls out there, they are pretty honest with you out there. So I mean, so I highly recommend that information. You will get your honesty for sure.
So, what would you say is like the best places to meet the women in Japan?
Places to meet the women in Japan. I say they got a lot of pub bars that you could go to. They got a lot of lounges that you could talk to. You could talk to them on the street. You can approach them on at a train station, because um Japan, yeah, they have a lot of traditional Japanese women, and in these big cities, like covered up, nice dresses, and they also checking for brothers too. But I highly recommend Osaka. What probably would be like the better city for you if you don't have to do so much of cold approaching. Pretty much if you just be nice to them, then just come up to you. You'll get a lot of choosers signals as well in Osaka, and the women are pretty nice and everything. So I highly recommend restaurants, pub bars, and you could just hang out with them, have a good time, and dance with them. Because when I was in Hiroshima, the girls in Japan are very approachable. When I was in Hiroshima, when I was just sitting by myself at a bar and I was just drinking, it was like, hey, these two cute Japanese girls was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? They was hooking up on me and everything, like, give me a pound. Yeah. I was like, okay, what's up? He's like, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So they was taking pictures with me and everything. I was taking pictures with them. They was hugging up on me. She hugged me with two arms close like this. It wasn't no gap between the hug. It was like a real hug. You see?
So, what kind of jobs can tourists usually get when they want to work in Japan? Because I always tell my audience to actually have like a remote job
Yeah.
outside of Japan, and then come into Japan with that job. So, what
Um.
would you say?
How old you should be to get these jobs?
No, what kind of jobs would the tourists actually need if they want to work in Japan?
If they were, I say digital nomad, or that. I mean, those jobs are pretty popular in Japan, because when I was telling them that you do need a working visa, to work in Japan, and but I really don't know the actually specific jobs they do, but I heard you do need a working visa, and they do have digital nomads, that's stationed out there in Japan. So I highly recommend digital nomad or something like that. That can actually get you in the door, in these doors, because I heard digital nomads, it's just an online job, you just work during the day on your laptop. Because I met a digital nomad, that was stationed out there. He was a black dude that was from Miami, I was like talking to him, and I met him in Osaka. But like he was like, yeah, he said I love it out here. Like the food is great, people are amazing. I was like, hey, do you like it better than Miami? I was like, yeah, of course. Like that's not even a damn question. Well, why would you ask?
Hmm.
I asked him that just the best. So, I know he was gonna say yeah, but I just did that just because. So he was like, yeah. So yeah, he said that yeah, yeah, they had to have like digital nomads, like you could work in a hostel because I met this white guy that was in Hakone. That's another countryside, but like they speak a lot of English, in Hakone. Hakone is only like 3 hours out of Tokyo, so I highly recommend like if you like in the nature, you want to see like beautiful lakes, like beautiful shrines and everything, like trees and everything, like temples. I highly recommend like visiting Hakone for an example. And I met this girl, and I met these two Japanese girls that was like that worked aside like the hostel that I was staying. And she was like and I brought one of those like Japanese robes and everything like that. And like they was telling me, and one girl that was like that was in the room that was Japanese. She was like, "Oh my God, you look so handsome." I was like, "Oh, thank you." I was like, when I put it on. Now you never gonna get no compliments like that. Like if you were average dude in the United States. So I mean, yeah. So
Yeah, it's a rarity, man.
yeah. So like I mean, like she was cute and everything. Like she had braces and everything, but she was a real cute Japanese girl. Like me and her had a like really good conversation and everything. So it was pretty nice. And I met this other Japanese chick. She was pretty nice, really helpful. Like and everything. So it was amazing time. Like that's why I said when I left Japan, like, I wanted to leave because there was so much stuff that I still wanted to see that I didn't get the chance to see. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that the trip is over. I want to go back, man. I want to go back to see more. You know what I'm saying?
That's actually what I get a lot from other expats who actually went to Japan and they gotta go
Yeah.
back to the United States. It's like, oh man,
Oh, fuck.
I
I
don't want
gotta
to go
come back.
back, bro.
But because, like, like, it's just like the treatment that I got out there, like, I'd never gotten this. And, like, I'm like, like, oh my God. Because, like, for me, like, I'm not a big dude, as you can tell. I'm kind of skinny, as you can see. Like, I'm kind of slim. So, like, like, I really don't get that much attention from the ladies, like, here. As I was describing to you, like, like, what I did when in Japan or these other countries that I had visited. But you see, but like when I'm overseas, like I could just be myself, man. I could just like be free, and everybody will open arms to you and everything. Like and also like I had got a I got invited to these Japanese people's houses when I was in Osaka. They actually had a whole bar inside their house, and I paid them like 1,000 yen. That was like 1,000 yen. It was only about like $11 US just to buy a drink, all you could drink. And I was like chopping up with them. They had a language barrier. But like they still wanted to like intervene with me. You see what I'm saying?
They treat you
Like
like an actual human being.
exactly because like it was so interesting. Like in this girl, like they had like like traditional. They was traditional Japanese girl. They had like long dresses and everything like that. So like this girl with the long dress, she just got on her seat and she just like sat next right in front of me and just like playing with her phone. We was like translating with each other and everything like that. That I like the Japanese women. They got this much now. They got the most prettiest, like innocent eyes that you could see, man. Like because like we look in their eyes, like actually looking like a cat. That look innocent. That's how the Japanese girls' eyes are. It's like looking at a cat. It's like looking at a beautiful cat with innocent eyes. Well, I mean, it's just like it's like. Yeah.
So now moving from like the positives, is there any negatives to be aware of like the people in Japan?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That like there are some racism there. Like remember, like you can't get inside in certain places, like bars, restaurants, cafes, or anything like that. So like make sure that you be aware of that. Now that's why I said they do got some places that don't like foreigners. So like you're really going to experience that in Tokyo a lot. But I Like my whole time in Japan, I really didn't experience that type of behavior. I only experienced this in Tokyo. So that's why I was like, wow. I was like, okay, well, during my time in Japan, like, every local that I had met was extremely nice. It's just that, I just had a little misunderstanding when I was in Tokyo. And I wasn't the only person that that experienced this behavior. It was like other people from different countries that was like Caucasian, white, that was also experiencing this behavior.
Mm. So, would you say there's any dangers to be aware of when in Japan?
I say no. There was no danger at all. Like Japan is one of the most safest countries. Like you don't have to worry about nothing. The only thing that you should worry about is like if you're in a red light district, you're gonna have these like these African dudes gonna trying to approach you and try to like let you in, try to like get you into these bars and everything that is way over expensive prices with the drinks and everything like that. So I highly recommend avoiding them as much as possible because like they target people that that have credit cards. So like they all they're gonna do is try to like max out your credit cards and everything like that. If they like trying to get you up into these like these bars that's seven like 7 levels above ground or like 5 levels below ground, something like that. So like watch out for stuff like that. But like they do got some Africans out there like that are really cool and everything like that. You'll know the ones who they are. I mean, because like I was like talking to these real like this African dude, like he was from Ghana. He owns a bar in Osaka. He was like talking and everything like that. I asked him like, hey, what city do you recommend prefer? He said I prefer Osaka, living here better because it's more like extroverted here. He said I've been to Tokyo plenty of times. Like it's like but like it's a nice, but it's really not the city for me. You see, so very much like I wasn't the only one that had the same type of behavior. Now this is interesting. Now I met this white guy when I was in Osaka, when I was like painting this painting out there. Like he was real cool. He's from America. Like he speaks like really good Japanese. And he was telling me that if he ever lived in Tokyo, he might as well jump in front of a train.
Dang.
And this is a white guy from the United States saying this that speaks like really good Japanese, and he's a DJ at a nightclub, and he was telling me that like I might as well jump in front of a train if I ever live in Osaka, if I live in Tokyo.
Mm. So it seems like Osaka is pretty much the move then, instead of Tokyo.
I
Like many
mean,
people
yeah,
like
that's
to.
yeah, because back to this drummer guy, that I told you about, like but he had an apartment for that was like $300 a month in Tokyo. Now he said that he lived in Japan for a year, and I asked him, I was like talking to him like, have you met any friends out here in Tokyo? He was like, yeah, like only people that was also German that I was hanging out with. I was like, no, 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 that's not what I asked you. I'm asking you that. Have you met any Japanese friends out here that are locals that you could like that you could like hit up on IG, talk to them, like hang out, let's go to a bar and something like that? I asked him like, have you ever met any like Japanese girl woman out here, or have you met any Japanese locals out here that could invite you over to their house or anything? He was like, no. I was like, hold on, you've been here for a year, you've been living in Tokyo for a year, and you haven't not met. I mean, you don't got not one Japanese local friend. He was like, no. I was like, that's interesting. So I asked him, I was like, well, he said that in Tokyo it's not very common, people inviting you over to their house. So like, that person has to like really like know you, like they actually like to do that type of like move like that. I was like, oh really? I was like, okay. I was like, well, like, okay, but you've been living here for a year, like like you should be able like to have just at least like one Japanese friend like that you could like talk to. I was like, no. So you only know other expats that was like from Germany that you met out here? I was like, huh. I said that's interesting. Now Osaka, you would definitely have local friends because I met this brother that was also from California. He's from the Bay Area, But like he said, he been to Tokyo six. He been to Japan 6 times, and out of those 6 times that he visited Japan, he told me that he never stepped foot in Tokyo really. And the reason why that is because he said that he has no problem, he has no interest of going there. I was like, wow, that's interesting. I was like, the capital of the whole country, you really never had spent time there. He's like, no, there's no point in me going there. I was like, really? I was like, so I was like, okay. So like, so I'm assuming that you must like Osaka there. He's like, yeah, Osaka, this is my city, That's why I say that's where he met his girlfriend at. That's where he met his Japanese friends at. Because like, like not only that, but like, he does YouTube and he does photography and he like, he shipped cars from America to Japan. Yeah, so that's pretty much what he does.
Mm. So, what is the religion over there that they go by?
The religion, I say it's Christianity, or they got their own type of religion. Like they follow like like temples and everything like that. Like they got like Buddhists that they follow. Like they got a lot of couple Buddha temples that that you just like see the way how they do it. They just like like Sundays they just like early in the morning they just go up to a shrine or something like that, and just like drop money down into a box, and they just like make a wish like this. So pretty much that's what they religion. That's part of the religion. What they do as like when they follow Buddhists when they out there. So I mean that's kind of interesting. Um, I kind of did that one time when I was like Hiroshima. I made a wish, and you just like dig in your box, and there's like a fortune letter that will tell you like your future and everything like that. Like what's gonna happen to you and everything like that. So like your future, or and something like that, which you was about to come to you. So I mean, I highly recommend that. It's like a fortune cookie that they use, but they don't use fortune cookies. They use like one of those like like fortune letters or something like that that you just stick in your hand, like grab a letter out and just like read it. So I think that's pretty unique what they do.
Mm. So, do you have any extra stories for the viewers out there in the world who want to go to Japan?
Like extra stories out there for Japan.
Yeah, just one or two.
Um, Extra stories. Man, there was a lot, so I had to think about it in my head. I was like, okay,
Yeah, you could
um,
just pick one or two.
let's
It's
pick.
up to you.
Uh, yeah. I highly recommend like yeah, like Hiroshima. Oh yeah, now I highly recommend like visiting this museum. Like it's like like where the bomb happened at. Like the U.S. attacking them and everything. So I highly recommend it. Like if you want to like understand how the Japanese culture, the way they behave, I highly recommend visiting that museum because like you understand like after the bomb, what they went through and like what they had suffered from it and everything, what they had to go through and everything. That's why after this bomb, like they still really hurting over this, and it's the reason why there's not a lot of crime in Japan. There's not a lot of animosity with people and everything. So that's why people are still like delivering flowers like these into a shrine into this very day. They still because they still respect like their history. They did now they learned a lot from their history, and yeah, man, it's pretty unique, man. You will understand, like the what that their behavior is the way they behave, because of the after this incident. That's why I say I highly recommend. As an American, I highly recommend visiting this museum, like the Hiroshima Museum, memorial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you have any last words for the viewers out there in the world?
Yeah. Any last words? Yeah. I highly recommend like visiting this beautiful world, man, because like there's so much stuff to offer. Like it will really open up your eyes, like once you start like visiting these countries and like understanding like the culture and their behavior, and you will understand, like, like the U.S. is not the all be all, and you will understand, like, there is so much stuff to offer in this world, man. Like, once you start like putting yourself out there, man, and it's like, there are so many beautiful, humble people. It is amazing, man.
And there you have it, guys. Make sure to look after yourself from around the world, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.